Hello guys, Chris here and welcome back to another video. Today my friends, I'm gonna be testing the GTX 1650 in Horizon Zero Dawn, of course. I'm running it with Ryzen 7 3700X and 16 gigs of RAM, but of course you don't need the 3700X to not put on like the GTX 1650 in this game. Something like a Ryzen 3 1200 overclocked should be absolutely fine because this game doesn't seem to utilize more than 4 threads. So let's get into it, my friends. This one is, by the way, the Gigabyte Mini ITX OC model of the card. It doesn't require any external power, which is good. It's what you should aim for if you're buying a GTX 1650. As you can see right here, I'm playing at 1080p using the low settings right now. We're also going to be testing with the medium or original settings, high and ultra settings as well. So starting off at the low settings at 1080p, let's just stroll around here for a little bit and see how many FPS we can get. And as you can see right off the bat, the VRAM is completely maxed out here, even at low settings. The textures do look pretty good, like it looks good for low settings, so they might be able to like decrease the size of the textures, like the resolution of them, to make it a little bit better to run on a lower end hardware and 4 gig cards and stuff like that, because I have been playing it with the 1650 here for like 20 minutes and actually gone through some missions here and there, and the game is quite stuttery. I gotta tell you that, like in every new area that this game renders, there's a huge stutter because of the 4 gigs of VRAM being maxed out completely. So yeah, you can see a couple of spikes there in the frame time graph. Just keep in mind that the FPS will drop into the 30s and even high 20s for a few times, even on low settings, by the way, because it just doesn't have the VRAM capacity to handle this game properly. So that's a shame to see, actually, and I am starting to wondering if something like a GTX 750 Ti will actually be capable of running this game. Probably not, because of the 2 gigs of VRAM, but of course I'm gonna take a look at that during the next week. Alright, there we go. Some of them are here. You know what? Just walking around here, doing your usual open world stuff, gathering some resources and stuff like that. The game is completely playable. Oh, there it is, one of the big stutters, by the way. But whenever you are doing a mission or something and rendering something new in the screen, it just becomes a little bit too unplayable. It's still playable. I managed to play the game just fine, you know, but it's a bit off-putting, let's say that. Okay, so comparing this to something like a GTX 1050 Ti, can I just pick this thing up, please? What the hell? Okay, I can't. Alright, never mind. But yeah, comparing it to a GTX 1050 Ti, it's just a little bit faster, you know. I think that GPU got, what, 40 FPS on average? Close to 40 at least, on the low settings at 1080p. So I was really expecting a little bit better coming from a GTX 1650, because it is in fact a better GPU than the 1050 Ti, but it doesn't seem to be like a night and day difference, at least in this game. Yeah, what did you want? Hello, how are you doing? We got a new quest, but of course I'm not gonna do it because we need to test the GPU here, and that would spoil some things for you. Did I seriously just die from the... oh god, why, game? Alright, let's just keep on moving, guys. I guess this is pretty much it for the low settings. You can't really get 60 FPS at these settings. It's also slower than the RX 570, if you are wondering. Not a lot slower. I think the 570 got like 60 FPS or 61 on average, so it's like 9 FPS slower than the 570, but it's a considerable difference. Let's go ahead and set it to the original settings, which are the PS4 settings right here. Okay, so let's start counting the FPS. I didn't disable the motion blur, of course. I'm gonna do that right now. Alright, there we go. And is it actually at 1080p? Yeah, 100% scale, of course. That's how you want it. And oh boy, okay. Yeah, it's not too bad. As you can see, we still get pretty decent FPS here. Way better than the GTX 1050 Ti. And you can definitely tell the difference because we're getting like 10 more FPS than the 1050 Ti. And it's more noticeable, like the closer you get to 30 or 20 FPS, the more noticeable the differences in FPS become. Like 5 FPS between 60 and 65 is just pretty much the same, but 5 FPS between 25 and 30 is completely different. Like the 25 FPS experience is kind of clunky, the 30 FPS experience is quite decent. It's what the consoles run it at, so yeah, there should be no problem with that. So as you can see, my friends, it will drop into the 30s here and there, high 30s mostly, and the game is quite playable still at these settings. Of course, if we had enough VRAM, we'd be using like 6 to 7 gigabytes of it at these settings, so the game will inevitably stutter quite a bit, okay, especially in new areas and stuff like that, as I told you. But you know, if you want to enjoy this game with PS4 graphics, maybe lock the FPS to 30 FPS and play with a controller, and it might be okay. It might not stutter as much. Hopefully it doesn't. But yeah, as I'm testing it in a benchmark, I don't want to lock the frame rate, of course. Obviously, that's not how you do benchmarks. Okay, alright, this is not going very well. Okay, finally. Alright, let's just loot him here. 1% lows are in the 20s, but it didn't really drop into the 30s even, I think, at least. So that's just because of the stutters. Again, this game is full of it, so hopefully they drop a patch or something. This looks amazing, so I'm not mad with getting 40 FPS at 1080p with a GTX 1650. What I'm mad about is the stuttering, which is sometimes really game-breaking, you know. When I was doing the main missions and stuff like that, it was really bad. Right now it's okay, it only happens every once in a while. What is going on over here? Can I actually kill you guys? Let's see. Oh, I can! I think I can, at least. What is going on? No, I might not be able to kill them. Can I try it again? Okay, it doesn't work. I tried, guys. I really tried to get some action going over here at the medium settings with these guys, but nope, they're not having it. Well, that actually sounded a bit too bad. Like, that's not what I meant, guys, okay? Action with the two guys, you know? Okay, let's keep on moving here. It doesn't seem like it's gonna drop too much. Whenever it starts raining as well, the game tends to drop the FPS by a couple of FPS, which is not too bad still. We'd be getting, like, it drops to the 30s, like mid-30s probably, with rain and stuff like that, so that is completely fine still. Alright, there we go. Can I please? No. You could have gone under the thing. God damn it. By the way, guys, just keep in mind that this game won't be playable at all if you have a 4 gig card or a 2 gig card and 12 or 8 gigabytes of RAM, because you're gonna run out of RAM and VRAM, and it's just gonna be even more of a stuttering mess than what it already is. So, of course, you don't want that, obviously. Alright, so I'm gonna stop it right there. We got 44 FPS on average, 1% lows of 32. Could be worse, actually. It's not that bad, but it's just not the best optimization, obviously. Let's set everything to high right now. Things are looking very nice. I'm just gonna disable motion blur. There we go. Motion blur is turned off. Much better. And let's start counting the FPS. Look at those flares, guys. Oh my gosh. I really like the flares in this game. The lens flares. It's amazing, guys. Holy crap. Now, we're getting kind of, it's actually slightly better than the 1050 Ti at medium settings here at the high settings, so this is okay. I was expecting a little bit worse, to be honest, but do keep in mind that with rain and stuff like that, with different weather or stormy weather, it's gonna be worse. So you might want to keep things down to medium settings, guys, because, well, the game looks good already on medium, and it runs much better and much more smoothly. It's still okay if you're running around here with 30-something FPS, but whenever there's a storm again, like snow or rain, it will drop a couple of FPS here and there, so it might actually end up dropping from 30 FPS, so that's obviously not ideal in a game like this, or in any game for that matter, because I really do think that you can play a game like this with 30 FPS, but not, for example, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. That's a bit too hard. And speaking of rainy weather, it started to rain, so we can actually take a look at our FPS with the rain here. 33, 30s, it's not too bad, guys, to be honest. Of course, if we had enough VRAM, we'd be at like 7.4 gigabytes of VRAM utilization, as we saw with the RX 570, for example. Yeah, and as you can see right here, we are in the low 30s. As I told you, Rainy weather is very intensive here in this game. If it doesn't drop from 30, it's quite impressive still. You can lock the FPS and have a perfectly smooth experience, or at least console smooth experience, of course, and it's gonna be okay, I guess. So, but it's dropping right now, so yeah, never mind, guys. Don't play on high settings unless you only play on shiny, sunny weather. So, alright, I'm gonna stop it right there for the high settings. We've seen enough, I think, and let's do ultra settings right now. Alright, guys, so ultra settings are now applied. As you can see, I'm clicking it and it doesn't apply, so that means that it's applied. I disabled motion blur, of course. We're still at 1080p, 100% resolution scale, and to no one's surprise, it will be below 30 FPS pretty much at all times. At least it's not hitting like 20 FPS like the 1050 Ti, so that's a little bit of an improvement there. But for a GPU that is supposed to replace the 1050 Ti, I guess, at least it did in price, you know, it came out at the same price as the 1050 Ti, it's not doing a fantastic job at it, as you can probably tell. The 570 here, if you're wondering, got 30 plus FPS on average, if I'm not mistaken here, at the ultra settings, and this one isn't even hitting 30, so yeah, quite a big difference there, although I have seen that this game doesn't really work very well with Nvidia graphics cards, so there's that as well. Like, maybe it's something to do with it being released first on the PS4. The PS4 of course has AMD components in it, so maybe that's why, or maybe it's because it runs in DirectX 12 and GPUs from AMD just run that much better in newer APIs. Anyways, the game is not really playable here on the ultra settings. It stutters, the FPS are low, the game looks beautiful, so you can still walk around to take screenshots if you want to, but yeah, not ideal. Gosh, just look at how gorgeous this is, by the way. God damn it, guys, this is amazing. Thumbnail? Do I hear thumbnail? Yep, probably. Alright, guys, I'll see you in the next one. As always, don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you in the next one, hopefully. Love you all. Bye-bye.